It is here. It is time. It is the NFL draft, and no one knows what's about to happen except maybe these guys. Look at the big brains on these guys. Matt Miller, Chris Sims. Guys, this is the 5th draft that we've done together. 5th.
Wow.
I'm used to this situation.
I can't even believe it's the 5th one. That's crazy.
All right, so for people that are joining us, welcome. Happy to be with these guys. They're well-researched. They're texting a lot of people. They have a lot of information right now.
And we're still clueless.
Yeah, I think so too. If you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on the BR app, thank you so much. We are going to go unfiltered. No commercial. If Sims has a weak bladder, too bad. That's what's going to happen tonight. But what we also want to do right now in the lead up to the draft, if you're on Facebook, get in some Facebook questions. We'll answer them. Here's what we're going to do. As each pick comes in, we're going to do videos for the BR app. He's going to tell you whether or not the value is good at the pick. Sims is going to tell you whether or not it makes sense. And then we're grading it, and we're going to do it all for you live. And when the pick comes in, there's going to be a nice little ding that pop.
Oh, that's pretty. I like that.
And when do we get Johnny Muscles involved?
Yeah, when that ding comes on, Johnny Muscles, a.k.a. Connor in the Connor Corner.
I got to tell you guys the picks.
He's going to tell us the picks, and he's going to tell us if we're right or not. Connor, what are you thinking about your Jets right now?
I'm feeling Rosen because I don't think the Browns are going to be crazy enough to take Baker Mayfield first overall.
Yeah. That is the talk right now. It's been the talk all day. Is it going to be Baker Mayfield? Is John Dorsey letting out his secrets? We're going to answer that question and much more. Get them in the Facebook comment section right now. Let's start off with a question that we already have locked, stocked, and barreled. What is your bold prediction for round 1? This is from Clink Dickinson.
Good old Clink.
And he's doing a little hashtag Sims and Lefkoe and stick to football.
I like it.
And I'm liking it too.
Looks good.
Let's go with Miller first. Miller, what is your bold prediction for round 1?
My bold prediction is we actually know who that first pick's going to be, and it's going to be Sam Darnold. I don't buy any of this talk that we've heard all day about it might be Baker Mayfield. I've heard every quarterback in the country connected to the Cleveland Browns over the last 3 months. I think it's this guy, Sam Darnold. Smart, 20 years old, tough, athletic, poised. USC put him in some awful situations and said, hey, Sam, go win us the ball game. And he did it over and over again. I think he is the smartest pick for them. Sure, Baker Mayfield is a good quarterback prospect. Josh Allen has elite traits. Sam Darnold has to be the pick for Cleveland.
Timeout. Before we get to Sims's bold prediction, as we're sitting in here looking at these great clips of Sam Darnold, I get a BR alert that says from BR's Matt Miller, Packers looking to move up to draft Minkah Fitzpatrick.
How are you talking at the same time?
Right now?
Awesome.
Multi-talented,
So
man. I
that's
can
what
do it
you're
all.
hearing. That they're trying to move up for Minkah.
Yeah, for Minkah. And
a hybrid
you got to get ahead
secondary
of
guy.
a team like the Miami Dolphins. So I've heard if Derwin James or Minkah Fitzpatrick are on the board for Miami, that's the pick.
Washington Redskins, they
As
could
well.
be in play for safety.
So you got to come up from 14.
They're going to hope that we don't know Tampa Bay. They would certainly be in that conversation. So that's interesting.
What is your bold prediction, Sims?
My bold prediction, I'm going to go off with my man Connor over here. I'm going strong. The Jets taking Josh Rosen at number 3. Yeah, that's my bold prediction. The Rosen one in New York. I just, for me, listen, he is the safest pick in the draft at the quarterback position. Does he have the most high-level talent at the position in this draft? No, he does not. But as far as a pure pocket passer, accuracy, decision-making, going through reads, and then consistently throwing the appropriate ball, he's the safest pick. I'll say this, he's the least to carry a team with just his athletic ability, right? If people get hurt or he gets on a team that's less than average on offense, he's not going to be the guy that's going to go around and make plays like Carson Wentz or Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But if he has a little protection in a scheme, he could be he's a better version of Matt Ryan to me. That's what I would say.
My comparison for him was like an Eli Manning meets Jared Goff type quarterback. Watching him play in the pocket, he reminds me of Andrew Luck with just his mechanics, his movement. So clean. I mean, his delivery, you break these guys down better than anybody. What he can do with the football is special. You just worry about the injuries.
Yeah,
he's been hurt a lot at UCLA.
Right.
I'm not worried about the personality. I hope that the Jets draft him and they have a hot tub in the war room.
Yeah.
Dude, we talked to him, and the whole personality thing is if you have an issue with intelligent people, that's on you. I'm not going to be doing.
wanted to go spoon with him that night after the interview.
We talked to him
today. He literally was like, dude, can I come over and spoon tonight? Like, let's do it.
If he ends up in Jersey, you guys can meet up.
Oh, if he ends up in New York, I already know I'm hitting him up. We're going to get a little Facebook chat going on. It's going to be great.
Where in New York would he live?
Murray Hill.
Oh, yeah.
Because he has to.
That's where the tribe lives.
That's where the tribe lives. All right, so you guys did your bold predictions. I'm getting one, too.
Good.
My bold don't talk about my sweater.
It's already starting to glisten.
My bold
There's the
prediction is
glisten.
this. We went through a whole draft season of everyone saying, can Lamar Jackson play quarterback? Should he switch to wide receiver? My bold prediction is he will be the fourth. He will just not be the fifth quarterback drafted. He will go ahead of one of the other four quarterbacks, whether that's a Baker or a Josh Allen. I think that Lamar, and I'm stealing a little bit of your stuff right now.
Okay.
That sounds familiar.
That a lot of the so tell the defender thing that you're hearing from teams around the NFL about Lamar Jackson.
Well, just some of the people I've talked to around the NFL, they laugh because they've heard from other teams that, you know, one of the big reasons Lamar has climbed up into the conversation again as one of the top players in the draft is because basically every defensive player that has played against Lamar Jackson in the draft, all right, so at the Senior Bowl, I'll give you a little story. I mean, you can see if you're watching the skills this guy has. He's been the best player on the field in every game he's played in college football, except for maybe Clemson with Deshaun Watson was on there, but I still probably would have gave the edge to this guy. But end of the day,
Senior Bowl.
Senior Bowls, combines, you meet teams. Sometimes they go right down the best player you played against in college football, right? So my senior year was Terrence Newman, the great cornerback, right? The Cowboys, right? Kansas State. I played against him. He picked me off. I was like, man, he's good. But that's the one thing I've heard is that every defender that's played Lamar Jackson goes, no, he's the best player we've ever played against. He's the best quarterback.
I know when we asked
Derwin
Derwin James on the podcast, that was his answer. It was
thing.
Lamar Jackson.
And he played against Deshaun Watson.
Right.
So that's to me the whole crazy thing about this
I
conversation.
think you're crazy.
Thank you.
I don't think
That's
he'll
why
be
it's
the
a
fourth
bold
quarterback
prediction.
drafted. And like Sim said, you can talk to. I've certainly talked to teams that say we're not going to draft a quarterback who got a 13 on the Wonderlic. And you guys might think the Wonderlic is crap and it doesn't mean anything, but there's a reason that people are still taking it.
It's a piece of the puzzle.
It is.
And I get that, but it's not a foolproof
He's
thing.
a fascinating player. I've never seen a more polarizing prospect. And all the time, this is my 7th draft for Bleacher Report. I've never covered anyone where you can talk to one team and they say, this guy's a game-changing quarterback. He's going to revolutionize the NFL. And you talk to another team that's like, man, I would love to get this kid to return and kick some punts.
Wow.
So it's all over the place.
Well, I know. I mean,
I think to me, where the quarterback goes to the top of the draft is a storyline, and then the next storyline is where does Lamar Jackson go? And I'll say this again. If the Patriots trade up and draft Lamar Jackson, I'm going to attempt to break dance in the floor.
the teams that brought in Lamar Jackson, while we're on the subject, the teams that I know that have talked to Lamar Jackson or the people I know that have talked to the teams, I've yet to hear someone say we have a problem with his mental aspect of the game and learning things on the board. The 13 Wonderlic, I get you. That's concerning. But, again, I'll make the point, too. Bobby Petrino's offense, I'm not going to say it's rocket science, but it's more complicated than some of these other guys in the draft.
It's more complicated than Baker Mayfield's offense.
And I'll say this, it's very similar to the offense that's starting to become very popular in the NFL with the nice mix of read option. Let's go back to jacked Connor in the corner and see what he's got for us.
I have a question for Chris, too.
Yeah.
How much of the Wonderlic is preparation versus football IQ?
You know what? I think it's majority preparation, right?
It's not actually
nothing
to do with X's and O's.
I never dropped back and was like, man, question 27, that vocab word that I never figured out. I mean, hey, listen, it gives you a basic IQ test, right, to get a feel for where the guy's brain is to a degree.
It's not a football test.
It's not a football test.
They're not asking you, what do you do against quarters coverage?
Right. I don't know if Gronkowski knows 9 plus 9, but I can tell you he knows who to double and who a Mike is, and he can tell you all these other...
There's a movie, The Program, where Alvin Mack can't write a sentence, and they put him in the film room, and he's like, this is what I do here, this is what I do here. Yes. I don't care if you
People are savants that way. So it's not foolproof. It's just another piece of the puzzle, and I don't think anybody looks at it and goes, oh, he's off the board just because he got 13.
Yeah, it gets a little overstated. My bold prediction, though, when you look at it, I don't even know how bold this is right now, but I think someone's going to give up a haul for Josh Allen.
Okay.
And I think it'll make the Jets trade look small. I mean, I'm talking maybe multiple first-round picks to come into the top 5 to get Josh Allen.
I mean, this is the fascinating thing of the draft, right? I mean, Allen, of course, we all know he's got great physical ability. He is raw. But I think the thing is, too, yes, Darnold goes 1. Rosen goes 3. Where does Josh Allen go? I think
that's where Buffalo gets aggressive, like Connor was saying, and you try to trade up to 5 or 6 to get your guy. The Buffalo Bills.
Do we know how Arizona feels? Like, that's the one. I don't know how Arizona feels about Josh Allen.
We've been doing mock drafts for a while. Every situation is Buffalo trading up.
Yeah.
But what if it's an Arizona or an LA Charger or a Baltimore Ravens?
And like I told you guys yesterday, if I'm the Indianapolis Colts and I can trade with Arizona, I'm doing it all day because the Cardinals, I don't believe, are going to be any good next year. So I want their first-round pick next year.
Right.
They loved Pat Mahomes last year. And guess what? They sat on their hands, and Kansas City traded up and got him. So I know it's a different coach there now. Bruce Arians gone. But if Steve Keim liked Pat Mahomes, he's going to like Josh Allen.
Yeah, exactly right.
Very similar guys. So they are definitely a team that could move up. It's just they don't have the double first like Buffalo does.
Here's why trading is so interesting in this year's draft for people that maybe haven't been paying too much attention to the way the draft falls. 1 through 5, you have 4 of the 5 picks that could be quarterbacks. The other one, the Browns are not going to take 2 quarterbacks. So it could be quarterback to Cleveland, quarterback to New York, quarterback to New York, and then the 5th pick is the Broncos, possibly. Yeah. But then you go through 4 picks in a row of teams that do not need quarterbacks. Indy doesn't need a quarterback. Tampa doesn't need a quarterback. Chicago doesn't need a quarterback. The Niners and the Raiders. But those teams have a lot of holes, which mean, and then you have all these teams afterwards, the Dolphins, the Cardinals, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Bills, that might have to trade up to jump, especially because we saw with the Saints. The Saints wanted Mahomes last year too, and they got jumped. So you have these 5 teams that have a lot of holes, don't need a quarterback, and likely some of these quarterbacks are going to fall into that gap.
Yes, it's the, I know. It's
I think the Broncos are the most interesting team in that scenario that you just ran down because we don't know what they're going to do.
No.
And they could try to, I had heard about 2 weeks ago that they wanted to try to move up potentially because whether it's for Bradley Chubb or Quentin Nelson, they really wanted to get a player that John Elway can kind of hang his hat on and say, hey, look, I know how to draft.
Right.
Because he doesn't.
He hasn't had the best track record.
He needs to get a Pro Bowl player that he can say, I drafted that guy. So I think the Broncos are a team that I've heard, and I think Chris has heard the same thing, the Giants aren't super excited about trading out of that number 2 spot, but I think the Broncos are a really interesting team to watch.
Gettleman came out and said, I want to get a Hall of Famer. You can maybe get one at 2, especially if it's Saquon. Throughout the night, we're going to be keeping an eye on Matt Miller's big board, so let's see, before the draft starts, who's number 1. And I don't see a quarterback until 5, yet all we're talking about is the quarterback.
And that's how it was last year. You know, guys, when you put a grade on them, a quarterback's not always going to be the best player in the draft, but the positional value says you're going to get them. So I do think Sam Darnold.
I'm going to say compared to other people, you have Tremaine Edmonds a little bit higher than others.
I told that story on the podcast. I put the grade on him, and then when I put all the grades together, I was like, oh, man, I actually really love this kid. I think he's just a freak. And
he's 19.
We did our preview show yesterday. I said, he could be an Aldon Smith type player without the off-field issues. He played in the middle of the field. He played on the edge. 19 years old, 6'5", almost 260, ran a 4.5 flat. Those are freakish traits that he brings to the table. I'm with you,
man. I'm with you.
And it's about upside. It is.
Yes. You said it. He's 19. You said the traits. I mean, you see the physical ability. If there's one negative, he's not a sledgehammer in the middle. But I don't even know if that's a bad thing this day and age of the NFL, of space and longevity of your career. He's Brian Urlacher. He's an Anthony Barr. He's Jamie Collins. I mean, that's another guy I thought of. He's that kind of guy. So he can do so many things for your defense.
All right, so in Miller's big board, if you saw, number 1 was Barkley, number 2 was Chubb. I came out recently and said I'd love for the Browns to go Barkley at 1, Chubb at 4. You got a load of picks. I mean, you got
Who's
1, 2, well, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
You got 3 picks in the 2nd round. You got some in the 4th. You got a first rounder next year.
I think.
Why not go up and trade up and get one of the teams?
I've
Maybe get that fallen Josh Allen or that Lamar Jackson.
I've been asked that a lot on Twitter because Sashi Brown got fired because he traded out of Carson Wentz and he traded out of Deshaun Watson.
It's a great theory when you don't have to make the
when
pick.
you don't get fired if you miss. Like what I say.
So it's what we call a Lefkoe
It's
theory.
chicken crap
no
drafting.
pressure on
You know, you got to take the quarterback. John Dorsey got hired to find the quarterback and draft him at 1. Yeah, those are the best players in the draft, and they'll get either Saquon or Chubb at 4. But if they don't take a quarterback at 1, those fans are going to burn that stadium
I'm just
down.
saying, man,
Lefkoe.
if Lamar's back there with Saquon, Carlos Hyde, Josh Gordon, Jarvis Landry, Corey Coleman, David Njoku,
There is
It's
truly
wishful thinking.
no, but there is truly a lot of smart football people, again, who don't have to make this pick, so it's easy to talk about, that think that's the play, Lefkoe.
Really?
To go.
It's not just me being crazy?
No, it's not, because they've actually told me, dude, don't steal this take or don't say this, and I was like, no, my host said it like 6 weeks ago. He's way ahead of you. You've been listening to our podcast, but yes, I mean I've had 2 people in front offices go, why not just take Barkley at 1? Why not take
I thought
Chubb?
I was crazy.
Why not
think
take
you are.
Chubb at 4? And you have all these picks. They go, you only can put 53 guys on a roster. What are you going to have? 35 first and second year players.
I know one thing on top of that. Teams are very afraid of next year's quarterback class. That's one reason why this year's class has been overinflated so much, because next year's quarterback class does not look very good.
That is a very popular draft trope to say, well, maybe they'll get a quarterback next year. You've actually started to look ahead. Who are their quarterbacks next year?
I mean, Justin Herbert at Oregon looks pretty good. But other than that, I mean, Shea Patterson, I guess he's now eligible at Michigan.
Because I remember this time last year we were talking about these guys.
Those are the three that I'm like tracking right now and that I will be watching on my flight home Monday.
Man, what do you think? I know in Vegas right now the line for quarterback is 5.5 in the first round, because we're expecting these 5 to go. Any chance that
I told you that I was gambling this afternoon, so I put money on Darnold at 1, and I put money on the under. I don't think 6 quarterbacks going around.
Okay.
Yes, no way. If Mason, I promise.
Oh yeah, we have a bet.
If Mason, I'm gonna kiss your feet on the show if Mason Rudolph gets picked in the first round, and then I'm gonna make fun of whoever picks him. I can promise you that.
All right, so we're gonna go to the control room. Is that what we're doing
guys,
right now?
yeah. You know what I feel like? I feel like this is like election night before the polls close, just before 8 o'clock. You guys are talking about all this, just like they're predicting who's gonna be getting what areas and stuff, and what they're predicting the votes are going into.
Yes, but at least there's like a little accuracy with the polls. We have no clue right now at number 1.
Well, and I want to say this. I want to say thank you to John Dorsey.
Yeah.
Because it takes a GM, because in our world of social media and our world of the NFL, where it's anonymous sources and random takes, it's nice for someone to keep it a secret until it actually happens.
Because the NFL makes them do it.
You think that's what it was?
Oh, no, I know it is. The NFL has told these guys, if you work for NFL Network or ESPN, you cannot tip picks because they're a rights holder. And the NFL has said, do not tell anyone.
Interesting.
Like,
we're not following
when it gets out.
We're not following
that.
If it breaks on Twitter, we're doing it live. We're going to try and beat television. That's part of our motto.
I have heard that the people who are usually ahead, the NFL has reached out to them and said, don't do it this year. So we might have a little trouble being ahead.
I'm not a fan of that at all.
No, they're trying to shut that stuff down so that there is a little bit of mystery at the top. I don't think there's any mystery who the first pick's going to be.
You still
definitely think it's Darnold.
I definitely think it's Darnold.
I mean, you're just going with gut, though. Do you have inside info there?
I mean, not from Cleveland, but from everyone picking after Cleveland.
Yeah.
And you know how that goes. So, like, the Browns aren't going to tell anyone.
Right.
I think it'll probably come out a little early.
Yeah, I would think so.
But, so, like, the Giants, the Jets, the Colts, the Broncos, you talk to those teams.
Yes.
And you'd be like, okay, what are you guys hearing? Because they're talking to people who are in those rooms to get that information. And then, you know, because you just buy them so many drinks when you're on the road with them, they owe you that favor. And they're like, okay, well, here's what I'm hearing.
All right, here's my other question for you. So imagine you're Baker Mayfield. You put out that Instagram post where you're reenacting the Brett Favre photo, which was amazing. Everyone's telling you all day, are you going to be the first pick? Then you guys are telling me right now, you're confident Darnold goes 1, Rosen goes 3. Does that mean we're expecting Baker at 5, or are we expecting a possible Baker
he's going
fall?
top 5. He drew the line in the sand. It said he's going top 5.
But that doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything. But he thinks it. And
what do you think? Where do you think he could end up?
I think that he will, if he doesn't go 1 or 3, I think he falls at least to 11 to Miami.
Wow.
At least.
That's all, and in real time, that's a very long amount of time to be sitting in the green.
I've heard that the Denver Broncos are absolutely in love with this kid, and like I said earlier, John Elway has to be very careful with this pick. He needs to get someone.
Does he have the guts to even go quarterback for a third time? I know. That's what I wonder. I know. That's
Most people don't get the chance to have the guts to make that pick again.
Right.
But that has been the rumor since they petitioned to get him on their team at the Senior Bowl.
Yes,
they had a kid from Oklahoma playing on the North roster.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
So they're in love with him. I'm glad we're flying the traits here because, man, you look at those and you're like, how is this kid in the running to be the #1 pick in the draft? He's not Russell Wilson. He's not Drew Brees.
Videos.
I get that. I would just argue with the guys, though, the graphic wasn't that different from Sam Darnold. I'm just going to throw that at you.
Yeah.
I mean, his number, he just was 5 pounds heavier and 2 inches taller.
Yeah.
The rest was actually very same. Small hands, horrible vertical, very average 40 time. That's what scares me about both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just scary.
4'8" for a guy who's not.
Yeah, who's 6'1".
Yeah, isn't great.
No,
I think my
scary.
biggest concern, and I'm sure we'll dive into this when whenever he does get picked, watching as much Big 12 football as I do, that Oklahoma scheme has so much space for him to operate in, man, and that stuff's just going to get so tight.
They're clearly the best team in the conference. Seriously,
Our
guys.
team in that conference is not good.
Well, are we talking about one Big 12 defensive player being drafted in the first 2 rounds? Like, seriously. Maybe Malik Jefferson, but I doubt that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, after the first 2 rounds, the Big 12, literally, we are not talking about anybody on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, think about that.
Entire conference.
This is the other question I would pose to you with Sam Darnold. Who are we talking about there? Vita Vea? Maybe the kid from Stanford, Reed.
Yeah, Reed.
Other than that, it's not a lot of guys. That's one of
I think
my
Baker
pushbacks to that.
supporters will say watch the Ohio State game.
Right, which is impressive.
It is impressive. I mean, and but he also ended that game by planting the flag on the field.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I love that. If you're looking at all the teams in the first round that are not early in the top 10, who else do you think could be the movers and shakers to trade up? I know you were hearing a certain team up in Massachusetts.
Yeah,
that's the one I would say too.
Yeah, New England. I have heard that New England is looking to make a move. I don't know what they're targeting. To me, when I think of that, I think of edge pass rusher or a corner. That's what I would think
I had heard
of.
linebacker.
Or maybe a Tremaine Edmonds if he was there in the mid-teens.
I guess
Belichick's Jamie Collins
Well, he
fascination.
would be that kind of guy. Yeah, that would make sense.
Conspiracy theory that's floating around out in some of the scouting circles is that Seattle wants to trade back from 18. New England would like to come up from 23 to get Leighton Vander Esch in front of Dallas, who really likes him at 19.
Wow.
I mean, I haven't heard that from anyone that's like, hey, this is going to happen, but if that's an availability when the time comes, that's something I could see happening.
Right.
Man, I want the Patriots to get Lamar Jackson so far.
I know you do.
All right, I don't want to leave Connor in the corner too much. Connor, whatever you want to talk about, man, let me hear the goods.
The last I had talked to people around Baker Mayfield, they had not heard from the Browns.
Huh.
So we'll see. And I don't think they're lying to me.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that plays out.
Right.
Why does that happen? Why does that come out that he's the guy?
I think Dorsey's trying to eliminate leaks in his department.
Oh, you think he's testing people?
I mean,
Could be.
He hired a lot of people. Hired Alonzo Highsmith, Elliott Wolf. They brought in Scott McLuhan as a consultant.
Right.
But a lot of the area scouts are leftover. And you got to figure out who's lying. So you tell.
That's
so I'm going to tell you, hey,
fascinating,
we're drafted Baker. I'm going to tell Connor we're taking Josh Allen. And I'm going to tell you we're taking Sam Darnold.
You can narrow it down.
Where does that information get out?
Right.
I know who to fire after the draft.
That's House of Cards.
Yeah,
That's
no,
the NFL.
it's-
Yeah, but that's amazing.
Yeah, that's normal, man.
That should be a reality show.
Yeah.
Find the mole. I love that.
I'm fascinated by it, all of it. The whole way he's handled it, everything. It's been phenomenal.
Do you applaud it?
I do applaud it, yes. And I mean, good job to him. My first thought is when the Baker Mayfield thing came out, I said, oh, he told Jimmy Haslam it was Baker Mayfield, and Jimmy Haslam told everybody, just like he usually
Hugh
does.
Jackson.
Or
And Hugh
something
Jackson
like
told
that.
somebody.
Right, and that's how it got out, and it's not really Baker Mayfield.
You know
but-
who I miss? The guy with the Giants who told everyone everything.
Oh, man, I know.
I was
really
going to
miss
say,
him.
it's very interesting that now we have two guys at the top of this draft
Yeah.
for two organizations that were famous for leaks,
Yep.
Cleveland and Giants, and they're locked up solid. If we get a quarterback one, percentage that the Giants go Saquon at 2?
99%.
I would say the only reason they don't is if they get a blockbuster trade offer.
right.
And to where it's high enough, because I do think Saquon's their guy. So it would almost have to be the Broncos trying to move up. That's the
I
only
know,
one that
but
makes
it's
sense.
hard. But yeah, because you don't know if the Browns at 4, they're going to take Saquon, I would think. I mean,
Or
if
Chubb.
he's there, maybe Chubb. Yeah, so you're
So I
rolling the
guess
dice a little.
if you're the Giants, you trade back. We always say if you trade back, you have to have X amount of guys that you like that are
Right.
still going to be there. Because the Jets will take a quarterback, they would just have to worry about, say the Broncos and Giants flip. Okay, you know you're going to get either Saquon, Bradley Chubb, or Quentin Nelson.
Yep.
You got to be okay with any of those.
Yep.
And say, okay, we're comfortable doing this because we'll still get one of our guys.
If you had to guess, what's the cost to go to 2 or 4?
From 5?
Yeah, start with 5 and then also do the Bills at 12.
I mean, to go from 5 to 4 is probably a third this year and a fourth next year. I mean, look what Chicago gave up last year to come up one spot with the 49ers.
Yeah.
I think to go from 5 to 2 is going to be much more expensive. Let's say the Broncos love Baker Mayfield, and they know he's going to be there too, and they're like, F it, let's. It's going to cost considerably more. I think one thing that could help Denver is that teams view this as a very rich second and third round.
Yes, they
do. So where they could trade, and I'll pull up right now, they pick again at 40.
Yes,
Right.
and they have
So-
2/3.
And 2/3. So they do have a little bit of ammo where it might take 40, 71, and 99 to go from 5 to 2. But if they believe Baker Mayfield is the next John Elway, then it's worth it.
Now, what about the Bills?
Yeah.
Oh, that's going to take
I
everything.
mean, holy cow.
it's going to 12
That's
and
why I feel like we've heard
22.
them back out of that whole statement a little
Think
bit,
about
that they're
this.
not
Think-
willing to do
think
that.
about the Carson Wentz trade that the Eagles made.
Right.
The only reason that was possible, they were there in the 11s and 12s,
because they
was
moved
because they
up.
traded with the Dolphins
To get
at
to
8
7 or-
to
yeah.
make it
Right.
possible
Well,
to then jump
And the
on.
Bills did that to go from to get up to 12.
get
They
up to
traded
12.
21 and Cordy Glenn
Yes.
to get to 12. So, I mean, looking at, they have 12, 22. In the second round, they have picks 53 and 56. Then they have pick 65, which they traded
the Bills have a
for
ton.
Tyrod Taylor. So they have the ammo. I mean, they have 2 2s, 2 3s, and 2 1s. So they
Man.
can. It might take all that, Connor. It might take 6 picks to go from 12 to 2.
Wow.
Damn, there's no quarterback in this
Josh
worth
Allen.
that to me. I know. I don't even think
Unless
I don't
they
think
really
he's
like
worth
Josh
it.
Allen
Man, I
that
mean,
much.
he's got to
And
have
that's what you've been hearing. They're only trading up for Josh Allen.
That's what I've heard. So this is another thing I've heard. I will tell you this too. I forgot to tell you guys this. Josh Rosen, everything I've heard was off the Buffalo Bills board. And then up until they had him up for a visit, he's entered back in the discussion to where I think that's what made them comfortable with maybe saying that we're not willing to give up the farm to go up too far. That we could stay at 12, or if we have to go up a little bit, we'll do that. But yeah, I think at first, which makes sense. I mean, Sean McDermott, if you've ever been around him, I mean, he's Tom Coughlin Jr. He's a drill sergeant.
Yes.
So guys like Josh Rosen, I would think at a glance from a distance probably scare him.
Doesn't fit
but then
his,
you get to meet him, and I think they go, well, damn, okay.
It's pretty unbelievable that it takes meeting someone to change your entire draft philosophy when it's pretty clear that meeting someone creates bias and is absolutely bad. Because, you know, we had Johnny Manziel going, I'm going to work really hard for you.
Let's wreck this league.
Right.
Had you heard that Rosen was off the Browns board?
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
Just double checking.
Okay, did you hear
Yeah, I
that too,
heard the
though?
same thing.
Yeah, I did. I heard that there was no
Forgot
way.
that Johnny Manziel was meeting coaches and saying, let's wreck
This league together.
And he kind of did. He started his own spring league, BR Live.
He was texting people during the draft
to come get
me.
Yes, I remember that. We have a Facebook question. We are going to go towards the later round with the 30th pick is the Minnesota Vikings. Let's get a question here from Robert Rasmussen. Who are the Vikings going to take? So when you look at the Vikings, every mock I'm seeing, they're really focusing seemingly on the interior offensive line. I'm looking some of the linebackers, maybe they're going to expect Laquan Treadwell to kind of step up a little bit, but is it the interior line?
I think it has. Really liking Pat Elflein, but I would target guys like Will Hernandez from UTEP. Who could play guard. Frank Ragnow from Arkansas, another guy that is viewed as could play center, but is probably a guard at the next level.
Right.
So someone actually tweeted me today because my final mock draft came out, and it was like of the 5 or 6 major draft analysts, we all had interior offensive line to Minnesota.
Makes too much sense.
Yeah.
they
I
have
mean, I'm
Nick
not a
Easton
major
at
draft
left guard
analyst,
and-
but I have the same type of thing. I know, but I'm having fun.
You are a major draft
no, I'm not. I'm really not. But
because right now their guards are Nick Easton and Tom Compton.
And Connor loves Frank Ragnow.
and Berger left, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He retired. You just gave $90 trillion to Kirk Cousins.
So a short quarterback.
So, yeah, you need to
gotta protect.
protect, right? I just think that it makes sense. It's a team that's got pretty much everything they need on both sides of the ball. It's the one weak area I look at. So, yeah, the names you said I think are right. The Isaiah Wynn kid,
Yeah,
I
he
look
would
at
be
him as a
interesting.
guard too, right? I don't know if he'll
so
be
athletic.
there. So I'm glad to hear you say that about the Daniels kid from Iowa.
Yeah,
because
he started at guard and then moved down
I
to
know,
center.
and I'm extremely impressed with him.
He's
so.
great in his own scheme. Probably the most athletic of all the guys not named Quentin Nelson.
Yeah.
I want to say something really quick. I have made jokes for a very long time, and I think everybody really has when it comes to the Cleveland Browns pick, about the joke of a homeless person making the selection because of what happened with Johnny Manziel.
Yes.
Cleveland fans got upset with me. And what I'm promising tonight, since it is the 5-year anniversary of Johnny Manziel being drafted, I will no longer make homeless people jokes about the Cleveland Browns draft selection. I wanted to get that out there.
Good.
I want that to be on the record.
Okay.
I'm now going to toss it to Connor. Connor, I have a little question for you. Of some of the names that are very popular in the top 10, whether it's the Quentin Nelsons, the Minkah Fitzpatricks, non-quarterbacks, who of those do you think could maybe slip to the teens? What names come to mind for you?
I wouldn't be shocked to see Roquan Smith slip into the teens, only because there are some concerns about, how is he going to handle coming downhill in contact through traffic? That's the biggest concern. Now, I don't have those concerns, but I do think if Tremaine Edmonds goes before Roquan Smith, no one would be shocked at all.
Right.
Now, Quentin Nelson is fascinating because you have a guy that there's a consensus, this is an all-pro player, and he plays guard.
Yeah.
So will he fall out of the top 10 because this is a good guard class?
Right.
There's a ton of good guards. So those are the two guys where, to me, they're top 5 talents.
Yeah.
And they could hear their names called after 10, which seems insane, but the quarterbacks often make that happen.
I don't see the Nelson thing happening. I understand. Like Nelson, I can see him falling out of the top 5. I don't know the top 10. Roquan's fascinating. I'll say that. Because I've talked to some teams that think Roquan's one of the 5 best players in the draft. I certainly don't see it that way, and I have friends who also don't see it that way. They
I
go,
have him
what?
at 10.
But yeah, I would have him around that range too.
Yeah.
I have concerns about Roquan. There's things I love about him. His straight ahead burst, his body, his legs, but just his overall size. If he had to play in a 3-4, I don't think that's going to be good for him. Getting off blocks, running a great
stack and
strength.
shed in a 3-4 is going to be very hard.
Very
for
hard,
him
right?
Because of the size, and I know he bulked up. I think he played around 225.
Makes
236?
sense.
Is that what we just flashed that he
Yes.
played? But I would also point out in the college football playoff game, that first half against Oklahoma, Big Boy didn't make any plays.
He didn't do anything.
He didn't do a
One of
thing.
my big things I wrote was played in a different style of game
Yep.
in the semifinal, and he was a little out of place.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it.
And he does have speed. I mean, once they adjusted at halftime,
Yes.
he did make some plays shutting down Baker Mayfield and stopping the outside run. But I heard you say it yesterday, I worry about him in coverage a little bit. It's like some of the Patrick Willis comparisons, I compared him to Thomas Davis. I
Okay.
would like to see him as a weak side backer
Right.
and not so much inside. But the last small linebacker I said couldn't get off blocks was Luke Kuechly. So maybe I'm a little gun shy too, and he reminds me of that every time I see him now.
We've all had misses, don't worry.
Who are your most? I know you've publicly talked a lot about missing on Trent Richardson. That's the one that I feel like you've had to eat.
Because I'm the only one who missed. Yeah.
Oh, of
Sorry,
course.
go
But
ahead.
I'm just saying, like, that's probably
I'm
your
bitter
most
about it.
famous one.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean,
What would you say your biggest miss would be?
Gosh, I don't know. I've definitely.
I think I know yours.
Who is it?
I would say.
I don't even care because I
course.
know I'm going to miss. Like, that's the one thing I
Yeah.
tell people all the time. If Bill Belichick can screw up picks, then damn it, I can too. Okay?
I think your biggest miss was Greg Robinson. But I
Oh.
think a lot of people missed on him.
I mean, he was the number 2 pick in the draft.
But you're
Everyone
right.
missed
No,
him.
but I was like, he's
Sims
going
did
to
a
the Hall
video
of
with
Fame.
me one time that said
Yeah.
this guy's could be a Hall
You're
of
right.
Famer.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you for that.
That draft was rough for all of us because I had Teddy Bridgewater number 1 that
Oh,
year.
yes,
so,
you did. That's right.
Yeah. So
All right, so
rough draft.
We're getting going right now. I believe it is after 8. It's 8:02.
Oh,
so
the NFL.
The Browns are on the clock. I'm very excited for this.
Are they on? I don't know if they did
I don't-
Roger come out and start
But
the
see,
clock.
this is the thing. They're in commercial. We don't do commercials
No.
because commercials are
Hey,
for the
you
weak.
cursed first.
I
I feel like
curse?
that's probably
When
a
did he
prop bet
curse?
out there.
Damn,
You
did
just
I
now.
curse? Did
you
I?
said damn it.
that doesn't
I don't.
count.
Damn doesn't
Yeah.
count.
Okay,
Bleacher
good.
Report. Damn doesn't count. Wait till I say
I see-
store high and transit or
I see Findrick over there wanting to
fornication
know
under
what I'm
consent
gonna-
of king.
Yeah.
All right, so let me ask you
Let me
this.
know what I can and
Let's
can't
get
say.
Let's get the predictions on the books for the first pick. Sims, what is your official prediction for the first pick? You're going to roll with his confidence?
I don't know. I'm going to say Josh Allen because that's who I want to be. That's who I want to be picked number 1. So I'm going Josh Allen because that's what I want.
Listen, I hope it's Josh Allen too
Right.
because what was it? 15 months ago, I came out and said if Josh Allen came out, he would be the first quarterback drafted in the 2017 draft.
Right.
And I took so much hell for that. But no, I think it's Sam Darnold.
You think it's Sam Darnold?
I want it to be Josh Allen because I think it would be fantastic.
We're going to keep track of this. I am going to go. I want to have a 1-point lead over Sims early on. So I'm going to go Darnold just to try and get that early lead. Mainly because I think of the USC connections there with a lot of people in that organization. And I like Mayock's theory, which was they need a guy and he is the most sure in terms of like the human, the person, all that stuff. I like him. Connor, I want you to weigh on this too. Who are you thinking? Who's your pick for the first pick?
Lefkoe, I'm right with you, man. I think it's one of those things where the Browns see a high floor player that's 20 years old that will be the classic first one in, last one out.
Yeah.
None of the other nonsense. I think it's Sam Darnold. And I think we've come full circle. We said Sam Darnold for 3 months.
Right.
Then we said Josh Allen. Now we said Baker Mayfield in the last 24 hours. I think it's going to be Sam Darnold in a couple minutes.
I think so too, man. I do. We also have some bets on the podcast that we need to update people on.
Yeah, what
Connor
are your
throughout
bets?
Well, if Baker Mayfield goes 3, I have to shave my head.
What?
Yeah.
When did you make that bet?
January.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why were you so confident?
Because I was
back in-
drinking.
Dude,
Damn.
I am so rooting for Baker Mayfield.
We're gonna
Yeah.
get the buzzer here. Don't worry.
No, we're
Let's
not
do
doing it
live.
live. We're not doing it live. I got to get through the
No, I
weekend.
think the
Great
last
live content.
29 picks are bald Miller.
I don't think
Great
anybody
live
wants to see
content.
that. No
All
one
right,
wants
so,
to see that.
If you're watching us as a second screen, YouTube, Facebook, Bleacher app, thank you so much. Goodell's coming out here with Troy Aikman, which is a classic Goodell move. What you do is you put a star next to you of the hometown
no one
crowd.
boos.
No one boos Goodell, but I don't know. The future is now. Okay, so what
The
other
funny
bets do you
thing
have?
is, I look at Josh Allen as the new modern version of Troy Aikman. That's
heard
how
that
I look at him.
comparison, too.
That was the first guy I thought of. I go, damn, he looks like Troy Aikman to me. It's 30 years later, and Troy Aikman now is 15 pounds heavier and runs a little faster.
All right, so I am a kind of person that I trust smart people. I trust you. I trust you. And I know that you both like Josh Allen. But I know that, Connor, you're not the biggest Josh Allen fan. I just need a counterpoint to these Josh Allen lovers. What do you think?
I think when you look at Allen, I know I said this to you guys on the show yesterday, it's just the performances against higher level competition, the speed of the game against the Power 5 schools. And yes, we do the whole stats are for losers argument, but he played Iowa, Nebraska, and Oregon and completed 50% of his passes, threw for 1 touchdown and 8 interceptions. And his team was not good. Let's not cherrycoat this at all. It was a bad football team, but the problem was great quarterbacks are often the answers for bad football teams. I've seen it with Darnold at times. I've seen it with Rosen at times. I've definitely seen it with Baker Mayfield at times, like you said, Sims, against weak competition.
But I hear you.
But that's my concern with Josh Allen. Is he the guy to elevate people? That's what I want to see.
Right. And I think we talked about that again yesterday. If people can go back and listen to either of our podcasts, Sims Lefkoe or Stick to Football, we talked about, I think with Josh Allen, it's so hard to truly evaluate him because of the talent around him, the things that he was asked to do schematically. Like I said, I went to the Iowa game, and you have the quarterback with the strongest arm I've ever seen, and every pass is horizontal.
Yeah.
There's no vertical
Or they get
stretch to that game.
short and they thought they were going to run it up the middle in Iowa. And I'm like, you're Wyoming and they're Iowa. You're not going to get the 2 yards up the middle when they know it's coming.
And he makes mistakes. There are definitely plays where you're like, what the hell is this kid doing? Don't make that throw. But he is a kid. He is learning.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing. His mistakes are so fixable because it's not a lack of talent. It's not a lack of size. He just needs developed.
Yeah. All right, so there's a few storylines. This is what's so interesting about the draft is you end up taking guys, and it's a lot of it is a projection. This guy, I don't know when he's going to go. Many believe he's going to be the top wide receiver taken, Calvin Ridley. I'm bringing him up because of projection. Josh Allen doesn't have anyone else on this team that's going to get drafted, and you have to kind of guess what it would be like if he did have talent. Sims tells me Calvin Ridley, he watches the tape, and I know who played quarterback for Alabama this year.
A running back.
He had a running back playing quarterback, and now we're sitting here going, he'll be the top wide receiver taken, yet we don't see any film. How hard is that as an evaluator?
I don't think it is with Calvin Ridley because you do see the film. His route running is special. And he's so smooth. You can look at hips, feet, the way he times his routes, the way he breaks off things at the top of his route stem. My biggest concern with Calvin Ridley is he's a little bit older. He's not that fast, and he's not that big. So he's like, and there it is. 4.43, I was surprised when he ran that. But 6 foot, 190 pounds isn't a profile of a #1 receiver.
And he's currently 23.
23. He'll turn 24 during his rookie season, I believe. I think he's a really good possession receiver. I want to say I compared him to Reggie Wayne, which sounds a little crazy now that I'm sitting at the desk saying it out loud. But I do. He's the best route runner in the draft, and that translates.
Because it's interesting. So when just from a third party, I hear a guy that's going to be 24 in his rookie season that isn't really that athletic or explosive. I get a little concerned
and that's
when I
why
look at
he's
the
not
DJ
a fit
Moores.
for everyone.
Right.
He's a fit for a team that wants to win now. Like if you're the Baltimore Ravens, the Dallas
Carolina
Cowboys,
Panthers.
Carolina Panthers.
Take Calvin
You're
Ridley
a team
if
that's
he's there.
trying to win now. You don't care how old he is because you only have him for 5 years anyway. I think if you're a team like if it were the 49ers, if they drafted him at 9, it would be like, what are you doing, Kyle?
Yes,
because he is going to top out. You do worry about that. I mean, it's all a projection, though.
It's nothing special, elite physical. That's what's going to scare you. Like there's things about Moore, DJ Chark, Sutton, all those things where you go, man, they have a few physical gifts that are special. Ridley, it's good route running. He's polished, all that.
Yeah.
But the explosion, what he does with the ball after the catch, none of that is all that impressive. And I'll tell you one thing that concerns me too, is this number right here on the 20-yard shuttle.
Yeah.
Man, he's a wide receiver and he ran 4.41. What? I would dust him in the 5.10.5. Dust him. That scares me.
Change direction.
That's change. I've caught the ball and I have to restart again, or I have to make somebody miss and restart again, and that scares me. That says no yak in the NFL for me.
All right, so we have 7 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock for the Cleveland Browns. We have weighed in. Me and Miller and I and Connor are all going Sam Darnold. Sims over there is going Josh Allen. I'm just looking.
How much do you think his tweets affect him?
I don't think it will. That's a good question.
What are your guys' takes on that? And I'll give you my take.
Well, I haven't not necessarily read them. I just look at it and go, I mean, either Darnold, Baker Mayfield, or Josh Rosen's agent have had these for a long, long time.
He and Darnold had the same agent.
Okay, so it wasn't him.
I think
so
it's
you
interesting.
Think it's the other quarterbacks and not teams.
No.
I think it's just some troll on Twitter. These tweets were deleted by his marketing people by his agents in January. Right. They held them until yesterday to try to damage him, which pisses me off.
Laramie Tunzel.
Yes, but I mean, it's just he's a dumb. He's
I think
a
it's
dumb
one of the
kid.
other quarterback's agents.
I just think he was a dumb kid, man. I'm so glad Twitter didn't exist when I was 15.
Man, I'll just say this: the whole thing, like the DiVincenzo kid for Villanova, has the game of his life, and afterwards he's asking questions from Twitter about his Twitter account. And for me, it's crazy that. That's the story that it was all day today. You know, he's calling Stephen A. Smith at 2 in the morning, having to answer that on one of the biggest days of his life. I think it's crazy, but also it's tweets. And if an NFL team is going to change their course of their future because of a tweet when a kid was 14 years old, that tells you about that franchise more than it tells you about Josh Allen.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But I'm looking at this Browns roster, and I'm seeing weapons all over the place on offense. I have Myles Garrett on defense. I have Demarius Randall, who they just traded for, some good weapons, and Christian Kirksey. How far away is this Browns team from getting to the playoffs? What do you think?
It depends on who they draft at quarterback. Really, and let me back up. Until they fire Hugh Jackson, they're far away from the playoffs. Dude's won one game in 2 years. That's almost impossible to do. I feel like
my question for Hugh is, how is he going to keep the locker room motivated?
The culture is going to change a little. That's why they got Tyrod Taylor. That's why they gave Jarvis Landry too much money.
Yeah.
They got Todd Haley in there to run the offense now.
And you have to overpay to get guys in Cleveland.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're right. They know. Yeah, Jarvis Landry's like, damn, you're going to send me to Cleveland? What? Okay, that money better be good. Let me tell you.
When Demarius Randall got traded for, I'm pretty sure he texted me and was like, I'm about to get paid.
So, right.
Like, yeah, you know.
But they're close. They got a lot of the essentials. They're big up front on both sides of the football. They got decent coordinators on both sides with Haley and Williams. You know, I look at them and I go, what are their biggest needs? I don't look at anything on the offensive line. No. I really don't look at anything on offense in general as being desperate, right? What are we talking about? Maybe corners?
Corners are the biggest need,
right?
yeah. And
corners and safety, but are they going to admit that Jabril Peppers is not the guy?
We'll see if the move to strong safety helps. They're going to get him in the box more. You guys, anyone who watched last year knows that neither of us liked him.
Yes.
Thought he was very overrated.
Right.
I think he could still play running back instead of safety. But I think Demarius Randall playing free safety would be very good. You saw he had, 4 picks last year for Green Bay. He was in the running to be a Pro Bowl player before he got hurt. I don't think they're as far away as 1 win in 2 seasons would indicate, but I think Hugh Jackson's a joke.
Especially when you look at the team, the Browns were 7th against the run last year in defense. They were in a lot of those games.
Yes, they were.
It was an 0-16 team that almost upset a lot of teams, and it was always a Deshaun Kaiser fumble in the 4th.
Or an interception.
Or Corey Coleman dropping a wide open pass.
Oh, that was a bad one, too. That was the game. What was that? That was the game they were going to win. They were going to win it. Yeah, that was horrible.
I would have cut him right there.
Oh, man.
Not really.
No, I know you wouldn't. You're not going to be your first-round pick. You're going to cut him. And you're 0-15. You ruined our season.
You're out of
here. Baker Mayfield's on the phone.
Baker Mayfield's on the phone.
We've seen that move before, too.
Smoke screen.
I want to keep the hair I still have. I hope
Let me just say this right now, okay? Can I say it? Because we're on the clock.
Say it.
Okay? You don't make fun of the homeless people, because don't worry. If Cleveland takes Baker Mayfield at 1, I'm going to make fun of them. Don't you worry.
John Dorsey's going to be homeless.
What?
I thought
Are you kidding me?
I thought I was the Texas homer.
6'1", 215, 484, no vertical, #1 pick next to Lake Erie, and he's been playing in the flag football conference of the Big 12. That will be a bad first pick. It's not going to be an F grade for me, because they're still getting the quarterback they want, so I'm not going to totally kill it. But I'm going to have to see it to believe it.
I just got a text. It's Baker.
What?
Really?
I swear to God. Yeah.
My gosh. Baker was on the phone. There's 3 minutes left. They're not calling him to ask him what his favorite, flowers are.
So that means #1, none of us was correct.
Means I could be correct with my bold prediction.
I mean, this person could be lying to me, because that stuff does happen, and everybody watching can see this live.
Damn, this is taking a long time.
Connor has seen me lied to.
If it's Baker, what are the grades? And I cannot wait to hear Sims's grade on this.
I'm not going to murder the grade total, because it's at least a quarterback that they like, right? And they're picking him. So I'm not going to, and I don't think this kid's a first-round quarterback. This isn't like Blake Bortles at 3, where I was like, no, this is like the 70th best player in the draft.
Pick is in.
I cannot wait.
Well, what's your grade?
Amazing. My grade is going to be, if it's Baker, it's going to be like a B-.
Browns just text me it's Baker.
Yep. I just got one, too.
I got a text, too. It's Baker.
Sorry.
What's your grade?
I'll give it a C. He's my 4th quarterback.
Wow.
Lefkoe, I'm not going to lie. He was my third quarterback. I went to my notes last night, and I read everything back again because I knew we had the draft today.
Thank you for
my notes read that he was the 5th quarterback.
It was when you went.
Yeah.
When you went back and we did it on the podcast, you came away and all of your notes were, he's not that athletic.
I needed you to read my notes because you make logic of my brain time at times, but this year
Can I say, like, I like Baker Mayfield. Like,
I do too.
Like, I'm very happy for him. A kid that was so overlooked. I'm
wait.
incredibly happy
This
for
is
him.
the problem. I'm with you.
Yeah.
Like, I know. We
rock
like
solid.
him.
Yeah.
But, okay, if you're going to take Baker Mayfield, take him at 4 and take Saquon Barkley 1. Wow. That's what I
think the
change
Jets
my
would.
grade from the B- to the C- because of that point right there, Connor. C-.
C-.
All right, so let me explain to everybody what we're going to do.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead of the draft because we have a bunch of people getting texts that this is where it's moving, so this is what we're going to do. We are going to make a BR video that you'll see popping up in the BR app really in the next 10, 15 minutes.
C.
He's
Regular.
changing his vote. I'm going to go to Miller. Miller's going to talk about the value. Was it smart to take this player at that position? Sims will talk about him fitting into the system. Then we're going to get their grades. Raj Goodell's on the podium. We're beating him to it. Let's get this video rolling. Baker Mayfield, the pick at 1.
All right, guys, stand by. Here we go. We're ready.
Yeah.
Stand by to the animation music in 3, 2.
With the first pick in the NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns, it was a rumor all day, but I can't believe it's fact. Baker Mayfield is the future of the Cleveland Browns. I want to know for your big board, is this where he was, the top player?
No, definitely not the top player. He was the number 4 quarterback on my big board. I like Baker. I love the story, overcoming the odds of being a walk-on at Texas Tech, a walk-on at Oklahoma, a day 3 projection from NFL scouts last summer, and now he's the number 1 pick in the draft. It's a great story. He's a playmaker. I think he can come in and play pretty quickly as long as he can get down Hugh Jackson's verbiage. Kudos to him, man, for completely changing the story about him as a prospect. Heisman Trophy winner, had a great season. John Dorsey said they want accuracy. They want a quarterback who can handle the cold, and they wanted a confident quarterback who believes he can come in and change the fate of the Cleveland Browns. Baker Mayfield thinks he can do it.
Sims, give me the truth.
All right, the truth is, listen, this guy's a first-round quarterback. There's no doubt about that. It's a natural throwing motion. He throws spirals. He can throw with power. He can push the ball down the field, and he does have good pocket presence. But at the end of the day, he's 6'1", 215. He ran 4.84. He's got 9 1/4 hands and a 29-inch vertical. That just does not scream number 1 pick in the draft to me, let alone coming from the Big 12, where we're not talking about any good defensive players. He was on clearly the best team in the Big 12. I have issues with this just because it's the number 1 pick, and I like Baker Mayfield. You know I did all college season, but I didn't think we were going to ever be talking about him as the number 1 pick. This is wrong to me, and this is why it's even more wrong. Because just wait till number 4 to take Baker Mayfield and take Saquon Barkley at 1.
I think that's the best argument. Take Saquon Barkley at 1, take the best player in the draft. And I don't see the difference between Baker, Josh Rosen, Josh Allen,
Rosen,
or Sam
Darnold, Allen, all are going to be there at 4 now.
I would say this no matter whom the Browns drafted. It's an uphill climb to be the quarterback in Cleveland.
It is.
Because 20 years you guys haven't got it right.
Right. Yeah.
But I would have gone Sam Darnold.
He has the confidence to get over it, and Todd Haley, offensive coordinator, maybe they're going to run that spread offense.
So I know there's a lot of conflict.
Yeah,
I need your grade. What's your grade for this pick?
I have to give it a C because on my board, he was the number 4 quarterback in this draft. So I'm happy for Baker. I hope it works because Cleveland deserves it, but it's a C.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm going to C as well. I mean, yes, do I like Baker Mayfield? I certainly do. He's a first-round quarterback, but he's not the number 1 pick in the draft, and I think you could have got him at 4 and taken Saquon Barkley 1. So that's my point.
He proved a lot of people wrong walking on, and he became the only player in FBS history with more than 13,500 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards. Apparently, he's going to have to prove people wrong again. Baker Mayfield, the future of the Cleveland Browns. Man. He also set a Big 12 record with a touchdown pass in 40 straight games, but I feel like a little shocked up here.
I just lost so much money betting on Sam Darnold.
Oh, man, I forgot. Yeah, you
I feel like Sam Darnold and them were seriously looking at it like, are you kidding me? Like, Baker Mayfield's going up there before me? I mean, listen, I love Baker Mayfield. I almost feel personally attached to him because when I got into the media business after I got done with New England, I went and worked for Fox Sports, and I had to do Big 12 football games, and he was on Texas Tech. And I'm on TV going, man, what is Cliff Kingsbury doing? This is the guy.
You thought he had some Russell Wilson traits.
did, yes. I get that.
I thought that too.
He's not as athletic as Russell Wilson. I was trying throughout the season when I was doing college football at Notre Dame to say, like, no, this guy's definitely a first-rounder. But I didn't want to talk him to the #1 pick.
The Giants are taking Saquon Barkley.
Oh, shocker.
Okay, pick is in. We're all picking Saquon. We would have picked Saquon anyway.
What? Yes.
It's an A, by the way.
So, and the fact
Plus of
that
A.
Sam's giving an A+. So Giants just kind of ran up there. So it apparently didn't matter which quarterback went off the board.
Sam Darnold to the Jets, maybe?
No, it's going to be Rosen.
I'll say Darnold.
You think it's Darnold?
I think it's Darnold.
I have been told that if Darnold is there, it's still going to be Rosen. This was the shocking thing to me. I did not expect to hear that. But I heard that from somebody pretty damn smart.
All right, so Saquon, I mean, I'm just going to be honest. As an Eagles fan, I am afraid that I'm playing a Giants team that has Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, Sterling Shepard.
Nate Solder.
Hey, yeah, I'll tell you what, man. You've said this all along. They can make a run at a possible Super Bowl.
That defense was good 2 years ago. It just fell apart last year because their head coach, I can't say that word on camera, their head coach, there was no accountability.
Connor, make the announcement. Make it official.
Listen, with the 2nd overall pick, the New York Giants selected running back Saquon Barkley.
And Gabe is losing his mind.
Woo, Gabe!
We got some happy people here.
Big blue, big blue, big blue.
let's make a
we got the
video.
2 most explosive people in offense on the same damn team.
Let's do it.
The Eagles are screwed.
Do you mean the Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles?
Close the yearbook.
Yeah.
Here we go. In 3, 2.
Look at the athletes on the Giants. With the 2nd pick in the draft, the New York Giants select Saquon Barkley paired up with Odell Beckham.
So nice.
Oh, baby, Eli has weapons. This was your top player, so at number 2, it's a steal.
Bro, this is not as my top player. This is the top running back I've ever graded. He has the highest grade I've ever given someone not named Andrew Luck or Von Miller.
Wow.
This dude is special on and off the field. 233 pounds, 4.4 speed, catches the ball like a receiver, scored on kick returns, punt returns. He's like Booby Miles. Just put him on the field and let him do something. Saquon was the best player in the draft. I'm glad the Giants didn't overthink it.
Yes, Saquon is the most explosive player I've seen come out in the draft since I've been in this business. I'll say that right off the bat. He's one of the greatest running backs I've ever watched coming out of college. He's in that conversation with Adrian Peterson when he came out of Oklahoma. Yeah, it's not the same style. I get that, but the guy is an absolute freak of nature in all aspects, and I really think he's going to even be better in the pros because Penn State only had 1 run play, and they didn't even know how to utilize him in the pass game, okay? Yeah. So he's going to go to Pat Shurmur, and he's going to have 9 million different ways to get him the ball out of the backfield. You think Alvin Kamara was tough to defend last year.
Oh, my God.
Have fun with Saquon Barkley.
Watch the Wisconsin tape. 3 of their linebackers keyed on Saquon so Trace McSorley could walk into the end zone.
That's amazing.
No one respected the pass game.
Right.
Everyone keyed on Saquon.
Your grade for Saquon at 2.
This is an A. This is I love this pick, and I've been telling our listeners on Sick Football since February this was going to be the pick. We love this kid. I think the Giants got it right.
An A+++++++++. You're in trouble in Philadelphia, big guy.
Yeah,
Big Blue's coming. Yeah, he's the man. I'm giving him an A+. Yes.
I will say this. He is also, out of all the prospects, not only the most athletic, not only the most well-read, but I'll also say this. He's a good kid in every NFL.
Handsome.
He's handsome.
Man.
Sims' theories
And he's a
about
new
that.
dad.
Saquon Barkley, they got troubles with Odell. Is he the new face of the New York Giants? 2nd pick for Big Blue.
We need to cut to Rodgers.
amazing.
Freaking out.
Saquon Barkley. How good can the Giants be next year with this guy? Over 50 catches last year.
I think
He
he's
can
a
do everything.
1,600-yard player as a rookie. I really do. I think he's better than Zeke because I think he has a little better open field speed.
Yep.
And you also don't have to worry about any of the off-field. There's going to be no distractions with this kid. When he declared, I remember talking to him, I was like, what have you been doing? He's like, I've been talking to all these NFL running backs trying to figure out how to get my body right because I've been training for the combine. Now I'm trying to figure out how to train to be an NFL player. Right. He was doing that in January and February. So I think he's a special guy in terms of not just the athletic ability, but the mental aspect of it.
Official predictions for the New York Jets?
Sam Darnold.
Rosen. I don't trust him with the Jets. He seems to always know, so he might already know that, but I'm going Rosen.
Sims is going Rosen. Miller's going Darnold.
Lefkoe.
I'm going to steal Sims' thunder here. I'm going to go with Rosen, too. I just want Rosen in New York.
So it's Sims Lefkoe versus stick to football here.
Yes, exactly. And what are you going with, Connor?
I'm going with Sam Darnold.
You going Sam Darnold?
I think they'll love the floor of this player. I think he will be unfazed by New York, and I think he fits in with the culture. Let's face it, they've spent 3 years building this culture. And you look at Sam Darnold, you talk to anyone that interviewed him at the NFL Combine, they said it was far and away not the best quarterback interview, the best player interview.
Yeah, he's great.
It matters.
You're right, Connor. No, he is great. I mean, we had him in here earlier in this week. I was blown away by the guy. I'm going to be rooting for him. Yeah, I get it. I do
so
get
much
that.
value in that.
Only thing I pushed back with Sam Darnold is this. You guys have heard me say it. The safest pick in the draft thing bothers me. I mean, for a guy that's young and coming from a raw offense and isn't great within the pocket. He's got great feet, but he doesn't have great feel yet. He has a little bit of a flawed motion and led college football in turnovers. That does not say safest pick. That's my biggest issue.
And he does have to clean up some of that wind-up mechanic where he drops the ball so low.
Right.
And that's where a lot of his fumbles happen because he does have smaller hands.
Yes.
24 starts, 21 fumbles for Sam Darnold.
Man.
Marcus Mariota had a fumbling problem at Oregon as well, and he hasn't in the NFL. I think fumbles can be fixed.
Sure.
I'm more worried about, the interceptions are more of a concern for me because I think he tried to play hero ball at times. My comparison for him was Tony Romo because when it's great and he's in rhythm, he's going to beat you so many different ways, and he could play outside the pocket. But if he's not on, it's going to be a 3-pick game.
Let me why I think this is taking long. This is something I heard, and I heard this before I walked in the room, and is Sam Darnold with the Broncos. I heard it just as I was walking in here. I had a friend text me that goes, I think Elway's been laying in the weeds about Sam Darnold and that they might make a move if he's on the board.
So you think the Jets?
It's a friend I trust. He told me he was it was
So
soft
you're
information.
say the Jets trade up.
I'm still saying Sam Rosen, but I think the reason it's taking so long because I think people right now are going, damn, Sam Darnold's there at 3. Maybe we make a move. And I'm just going, maybe it's the Broncos.
Darnold's on the phone.
Darnold's on the phone.
Picks in.
So they're going to go Darnold.
I get.
So Rosen, not a
I don't
thing.
want to overplay the hand of things that we've heard, but I had heard that Darnold was the #1 player on their board.
Man, I told you. I thought Darnold was the pick yesterday, and then today I was told, so I guess I'm going to be wrong here.
Pick is in.
Darnold.
Let's go to the Connor corner.
Jets took a quarterback from the Pac-12,
You're such a puddle.
and it's Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
So the current scoreboard is, I don't remember, but
We all missed on the first one.
so you're up 2-1.
I mean,
You
I'm
got
competitive,
Saquon.
so I'm keeping score in my head.
Oh, you have it? Okay. So Sam Darnold. So
Yeah.
what do you think happened, Mr. So that means your bold prediction's wrong.
My bold prediction
And your
is
bold
wrong.
prediction's wrong.
Mine was wrong.
That means that I'm the only one that can get the bold prediction correct.
Yours is gonna be wrong.
Jackson.
The real interesting thing, though, is just, where is Rosen going to end up now? This is going to be the new storyline of the draft. Who's
What are
going to
your
do it?
grades for Sam Darnold going to the draft?
A+. Like the balls to trade up from 6 to 3 a month ago and say, you know what? We're going to get our guy. Like that is such just a hero move of we're going to get our guy. And Mike McCagnon, give me some lotto numbers, bro, because Leonard Williams falls to you, Jamal Adams falls to you, now Sam Darnold falls to you?
Seriously, A-.
I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. I'm excited for this because Sims has not been a huge Sam Darnold fan.
No, I just have questions.
Yeah, of course.
I got questions about it. He's definitely a top 20 pick. I've said that from the
How
start.
does he work? You like his athleticism with Jeremy Bates' offense?
I do, yes. He's going to fit the skill
well.
set they want in this offense.
He can move outside the pocket a little bit.
Right.
He's
Let's
so
make this
tough.
video. Save the good stuff for the video, pal.
I'm so happy for Connor.
Are you happy?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I liked Josh Rosen better, but I get the pick. I explained to you guys on the.
So he's not Mark Sanchez.
He's not Mark. This guy is
To
not
me, it's
Mark
the
Sanchez.
Jets who have burned out on quarterbacks, right? This is the public media safe pick. And I think that's a little bit, I'm just throwing that angle.
I think that's a good angle.
All right, stand
Let's
by.
put it
Here
in
we
the
go.
video.
In 3.
We knew when the Jets traded up, they were trying to get a quarterback at 3, but for weeks we wondered, were they going to be stuck with the leftovers of Cleveland and New York? And apparently, they get the #1 guy on their board at 3. Miller, the value here.
Well, they get the #1 quarterback on my board in Sam Darnold, just 20 years old, coming out of USC. Amazing ability to, I think, see the field, and his upside is tremendous. You talk to people in the NFL, they love the kid. He's committed to football. He has accuracy. You can improve some of the touch and timing, but he was a playmaker for the Trojans. He's tough, played linebacker in high school. He's clutch. tore apart our Texas Longhorns late in the game where Texas was leading, and they said, hey, Sam, go win us a ball game, buddy, and he kept doing it. So I think he was the best quarterback in the draft. I think he also has upside that a lot of people don't realize because they think, oh, you came out of USC, you're pro-ready. I don't like T. Martin's offense at all. I think he's going to be a great fit in Jeremy Bates' scheme.
Yeah, what do you think about him as the Jets' future?
The Jets' future, listen, the future is bright for this kid. He's got everything you want as a franchise starting quarterback. Was he my favorite quarterback in this draft? Certainly not. No. Do I have questions about him? Yes, I do. But there's no denying his ability to make plays off schedule, his ability to make some different kind of throws when he's in some awkward positions. He does not. Right. He certainly does not. But there's things he has to clean up in his game, yes, and he's not an elite level athlete. And I could say out of all the quarterbacks drafted, there wasn't one thing I could look at and go, he was the best. But at the end of the day, I get it. He was a definite top 20 pick. He can turn around the franchise. He is a little bit more of a project than people I think have realized. But him with Jeremy Bates' offense was very exciting in Denver when he had Jay Cutler. Now, I know I'm not trying to say Jay Cutler, but this is the kind of skill set this guy has to make this offense
and I think
for this
I gave it an A+. I think to Sim's point, what does he do well? What is he great at? Everything I heard was his interviews and board work were off the charts good. One person told me it was up there with Goff and Wentz in terms of just how well prepared he was, his football IQ. I think it's a great pick for the Jets, and I love that when they made this trade right after the Combine, or back in March, everybody was like, how can you trade up already? You gave up too much to move up 3 spots. They just got the top player on their board.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an A-. Again, he's not my favorite quarterback here. I like Josh Rosen, but I can't get mad at the Jets at all for getting a guy that they got at the top of their board, and they obviously feel confident this is the guy for the future.
I'll tell you what, he also has it in his bloodlines. We love talking about it. His grandfather, Dick Hammer, was an Olympian and was the Marlboro Man. Well, guess what? Sam Darnold is now the face of a football team in New York City. He's going to have to get those acting chops ready because Sam Darnold is about to be big time. Jets' future is in his hands. And he's got little hands, and he's going to fumble it.
I'm so sad my parents didn't name me Dick Hammer.
Incredible name.
Oh, my
Incredible
God.
name. Well, you might not have the tools that he called that.
We'll see. Small hands. He might not either.
Guys, does this mean that another USC rookie quarterback for the Jets means the Jets go to the AFC Championship in the next 2 years?
I'm not going to say that quite yet. I think that this is a thing where Sam Darnold, this is where I think people are, he needs a year or two to sit behind somebody.
And they have McCown,
they have McCown, exactly right. This is a good situation for him, so don't expect him right away.
I think McCown is a very underrated teacher in the league,
it's a perfect guy.
Great guy. And McCown's also a lot more athletic than people think. I mean, not at this point of his career, but...
You seen that dude play basketball?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh
Sims watched it in person.
Yes.
All right, Browns are back on the clock. Can we all just say it's Bradley Chubb?
Should be.
I mean, it should be, yes.
Locked in?
I mean, I don't know. They took Baker Mayfield at 1. I don't know what the hell they're thinking
anymore.
They're
not going to take a quarterback.
Can you imagine, though? All right, so Bradley Chubb is the bet for all of us?
I even think so.
What is that duo of Bradley Chubb and Myles Garrett?
Scary.
Yeah.
What is a better duo?
My only question would be this, is I see, when I look at the Browns, I see a lot of holes in the middle of the D-line because they were like the worst run defense in the NFL. Their secondary is a mess, but you talked about waiting the patience of Jabril.
Yeah, you don't draft a corner here.
Myles Garrett and Bradley Chubb, they're going to have them on rookie contracts for like the next 3-4 years.
Yeah, right.
Are we up there with the Chargers? Are we up there with
the
the
I think they're
pass
different than
duos?
the Chargers because the Chargers,
size of these guys.
Yeah, it's just different.
Yeah.
And we're also talking about freak athletes here. And I think with Myles Garrett, let's not forget a year ago, we were all gushing about this kid, about how great he was. And I think with Chubb, he's a Joey Bosa level player where he can play weak side and just let him go because he has agility, he has power, he can shed blocks. I think he does have enough bend. I love him. I don't know why he didn't get talked about a little bit more in this class.
Right.
I think maybe just because the quarterbacks were all going so early. That we talked about Saquon and then
everybody turned on Saquon, so you're right. They just got lost.
But it is the Browns, man, and they could shock us all.
I'll say this. It's shocking that Baker went first, but if you would have told me that the first 3 picks were Sam Darnold, Saquon, Baker, Mayfield, that's not shocking.
You're right.
So we're kind of where we thought we might be at this point.
But this could be a trade scenario, too. We talked in the pre-show about trades, teams trying to come up. This is where you do it if you're trying to come up.
Do they go, man, we can get some really good corners if we drop down to 12 or wherever it may be. So this is going to be interesting. Picks in. Here we go.
All right. So I feel very confident.
So not a trade.
In Bradley Chubb.
Okay.
It's a trade?
No, that's not a trade.
Do you know who it is
Yeah,
already?
I know who it is. You guys, I'm not gonna. I'll let you guys guess.
Oh, I'm going Chubb.
Yeah, I'm going Chubb too.
I would have as well, but it's Denzel Ward.
Wow, they're going to go Denzel
So
Ward
I just
at
want to say
4.
that we had this whole system where Connor was going to
Sorry.
reveal the
No,
pick.
I'm sorry.
it's
I'll
all right.
stop.
No, I'm just saying, typical stick to football move over here.
Stealing the shine.
Thunder.
Man, Sims is going to be pissed the second
Yeah,
time
what
in a
is
row
your
for the
prediction
Browns.
for Sims's grade?
Sims is going to give this a C+ because he's going to say Denzel Ward can, mirror and match and has elite athleticism, but he's not going to make enough plays on the ball. And at number 4, he would have taken Bradley Chubb to pair up Miles Garrett for an instant top 3 pass rush duo.
That's
in the
pretty
NFL.
spot on.
Put it on the video. I don't want to work this
We're
pick.
done.
Forget
We're
it.
done.
All right, what's your grades?
I'm gonna give it a B+.
Sims, be real here, man.
Man.
It was their. Never mind. I don't want to.
I know what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter about their board. It's about Sims's board.
I'm going to give this a C-.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm
So
sorry.
now I'm thinking this. Now I'm thinking, I know that Shane Ray is on Denver, but his contract's coming up after this season.
What is Denver
Von
going to do?
Miller, Brad Chubb.
We got to do a Cleveland video.
Indianapolis is salivating. And remember, there was a lot of stories that came out this week that the Raiders wanted to move up to get Bradley Chubb. And I know that I'm sure Elway wants to trade back. It might be your former coach John Gruden trying to go up and get
Maybe
Bradley
it
Chubb.
would be. That would be amazing, too, to see Chubb and Mack.
Chubb and Khalil
Holy
Mack.
crap.
Oh, man.
That would pass
Chubby
up Chubb.
Mack?
And that would
Chubby Mack. It's good.
Or Mac Chubb.
Wow, Denzel
Mackie
Ward.
Chubb. Wow.
So I'm going to tell you what, not in my wildest dreams did I think the Browns were going to leave this draft with Baker Mayfield and Denzel Ward.
They like short guys. Waiting for them to draft me
Seriously.
at 33. If you like short guys.
All right, let's do this
who aren't
video. Browns taking Denzel Ward. Now, look, we're talking crap. He's a first-team AP All-American, but let's do a video. If you thought you knew what the Browns were doing for this draft, you were absolutely wrong because they went out there, took Baker Mayfield at 1 and Denzel Ward, cornerback from Ohio State, at 4. I need the value. Did you expect him to go this high?
I thought that he could go with the next pick at actually number 5 overall. So the value's there. I had him ranked number 9 overall as the top corner in this class. Compared him to Chris Harris Jr. He's a little bit undersized for an outside corner. Was just a 1-year starter because of Marshawn Lattimore and Gary Conley. But you see in the clip, he's physical. He has great arm length. He's very, very fast. Marshawn Lattimore actually told me that Ward is faster than him and probably a better overall athlete. So that's the type of guy you're getting. And yeah, he'll come up and lay the wood a little bit. So it's not the conventional pick we expected with Bradley Chubb, but I think it is a smart move because this was their biggest need outside of quarterback.
You look at their cornerbacks, Terrence Mitchell, E.J. Gaines, Jamar Taylor, really no one of note. But I know that this was not your number 1 corner.
No, he was not. He's certainly not. Listen, it's hard to argue against this guy. Let me just say this. The film was impressive. He's in a phenomenal man-to-man cover corner. He has got unbelievable, just loose, fluid hips, all of those things. And he ran 4.3 too. But he also chose not to run the 3-cone drill and the 20-yard shuttle. And those are the things that I thought on film were his weakest thing. That's where I would say his ability to break on the ball, be in backpedal, break on seeing the quarterback throwing the ball, I did not think was top-notch. I just don't, listen, if you have him, there's other corners in this draft that I think are every bit as good, or if not, they're maybe just a hair worse, okay? So I wouldn't have done this at number 4. That's my issue with it.
All right, of course, Bradley Chubb was on the board. So let me get the grades. Where do you go? I think they're going to be different.
Yeah, I went with a B+ because I do feel like this was such a big need for them. And I like Denzel Ward a lot, but you mentioned it there. Bradley Chubb was on the board. The idea of pairing him and Myles Garrett is just too good for me to pass up. But Ward is a good player. He's a day 1 starter. And in that division, you need someone who can cover Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
This might be the guy who can do it.
Yeah, maybe so. I'm going to give it a C- just because, first of all, I don't even think Denzel Ward's the clear-cut corner, best corner in the draft. And, yeah, this is the NFL. It's about getting after the quarterback. Let's see, who's been in the Super Bowl? Seattle Seahawks, Eagles, teams like that can get after the quarterback. Broncos. You had Bradley Chubb on the board. It just doesn't make sense to me there.
I will say this, though, for Mr. Ward. Grew up in Ohio. His birthday is in 2 days.
Wow.
Pretty cool that he gets to play for the
And
Browns.
he's a really good player. We're not
Browns-
trying to be too
No.
negative.
The
He's
Browns
really
never
good.
drafted Ohio State guys in the previous regimes, so you know they're going wild up there right now.
Yeah, you're
They
right.
needed a corner. Denzel Ward's their guy. The pick for the Browns at number 4. Okay, now it gets crazy. It's already crazy, actually. I did not expect that at number 4. But we had heard before that the Broncos like Denzel Ward.